Hi everybody, it's good to see you all on this short live show, the purpose of which is for us to give you the ballot results on the recent agreements. Martin's going to announce that in a second or so, but also we want to give you our initial reflections on the ballot results, and crucially we want to set out what our next steps will be in supporting our members going forward. So I'm going to hand you over to Martin now to give you the ballot result.
Good evening. Obviously, this will be out on the independent scrutineer's report onto our website at 5:30, and it's gone out on the LTB. So on the main agreement, which was the USO reform and equalisation and new entrants, 65.4% of people who voted yes, and 34.6% voted no. That's on a 32.9% turnout. On the additional 1.75% pay rise for new entrants, 72.2% voted yes, 27.8% voted no, and that was also on a 32.3% turnout. What do you reckon that is, Dave?
Well, I think we want to sort of give you our initial reflections. Look, we're in no doubt that the yes vote and the agreement gives us the best opportunity to protect our members' jobs going forward into the future, and also to secure the future of the company, really, and make sure that it's got an opportunity to grow so that it's sustainable. We've always believed that change is necessary, and I believe our members do recognise that. I think that's one of the reasons why, whilst the turnout, and I'll come on to that, is disappointing, I think there are good reasons for that. And what we're seeing there is that the members, didn't feel that it was right to vote against the deal, because they know that change needs to happen. And I do believe that, and I think the union are in the right place on that. Look, the turnout, as I said, is disappointing. I don't think that's a surprise if you acknowledge, as we do, that the reality of life for our members at the moment, and for the last few years really, for a long time now, day in, day out, hasn't been good. I don't think many of our members see a positive future. I think they're struggling to see, well, what is the future of Royal Mail? What is the future of their job? And I think Royal Mail failed to set out any kind of vision for the future that would engage members in that. But the union also know that this agreement in particular is going to be deployed in a different environment to even what you're seeing over the last few months, because of the union's campaigning, because of the members' support in how we set out that campaign in Parliament. This is going to be deployed now in a more favourable environment for our members. One, you've obviously seen that Royal Mail, through the way that we've exposed the quality of service issues, have been forced, let's be truthful, they've been forced into setting out publicly a really clear commitment that they are going to improve quality of service. And I do think that's good news for our members, and I think you'll see the benefit of that fairly soon. I think the second thing is that the recent report last week that came out, which we will talk to you about more in the coming weeks, is probably the best bit of news that we've had for a long, long time around some of the external factors that are holding Royal Mail back. The report from the Business and Trade Select Committee and the recommendations that they made to government are really important for the future. And, those recommendations have criticised Royal Mail, criticised Ofcom significantly, and they have listened to what the union has been saying. Now, our job now is to campaign to make sure that government implement those recommendations. And if we are successful in that, then I do think you're going to see, a better opportunity for the future than what you're seeing at the moment. And you'll see the chance of perhaps growing this business. So they are my initial reflections, Martin. How are you seeing it?
Yeah, I get that. And I also see change is difficult. and I suppose trying to communicate effectively with all our members on why this change is better for them than the ODM. We haven't reached the numbers we want, and we've got to do better at every level of union over the next few months to make sure people know this is better, know they're going to be supported, know that this is a vastly superior model than what Royal Mail wanted. And that's a challenge we're going to have to do. The second thing, I think, is there was no organised opposition, and there was no, other than social media, there was no real campaign out there to vote no. I think the other third element is people know that Ofcom changed the regulations and change was inevitable. But I think the last one is people want to know how this impacts locally. They want to know their start times, they want to know their workload, they want to know if it's achievable workload. And that's the element now we move on with the yes vote to make sure we deliver this change in the right way, which supports our members throughout the UK, get the benefits, and they can see it really working in their office. We've already seen Manchester South East go live on DM26 2 weeks ago. Shepperton went live this week. I think there's 8 units going next week. And the reports from Manchester South East and Shepperton, it has improved. And it's a better model than current. It's ended the chaos of resourcing. And they are achieving workload. Even though there was a bank holiday this week, they still cleared on most days this week with support. And the members in there are saying it's a much better model and it's working well. We've got to make sure Manchester South East is replicated right away through the UK.
Yeah, and I think it's important that Martin shared with you the fact that some of that change has started and that the results are promising. And we've also had the pilot sites who have used some of the new model, give an encouraging report back. So we are confident that, you know, this is going to be difficult change, but we're confident that we are in the best place possible to support our members going forward in delivering this change. And, you know, you're going to see the evidence of that over the coming weeks. I also would say that on equalisation, you know, there's a recognition from us all that, yes, we wanted more. But it was also crucial that we actually got on the journey. Up to this point, we hadn't been on the journey of equalisation. We got a lot to do in trying to get to the final point where we equalise our new entrants terms and conditions with our older contracts that the members have had for many years. That's a crucial issue for the union, and we're going to be talking to you more about some of that. I think what's going to be interesting as well is how Royal Mail respond to this ballot, because I do think the company, you know, there's going to be an element out there. We certainly saw it during some of the briefings that we had with all of our reps, where people say, can you trust Royal Mail? And we've dealt with that issue on previous live shows. But this is a moment where Royal Mail have to show some humility to the workforce. They can't continue with a managerial ethos, not in every office. I'm not suggesting that there aren't good managers out there. There are good managers out there. But there's too many managers who haven't moved away from the it's our business to run attitude. We get that reported to us all the time. And remember that this agreement actually makes it clear that Royal Mail again and the EP group, one and the same, have signed up to moving that forward. So, you know, when it comes to, perhaps we should talk about the next steps, Martin. I know you've been doing a lot of work, as we all have, and the executive have. One of the first next steps will be to develop this plan that you referred to, so that no single office in the UK is left behind. If you haven't got a rep at the moment, we're going to identify people where we can contact each office through the branch structure. The branches have got to play their role in this, our divisions, our areas, and the national executive. We're going to align all of the reps with our own internal processes to make sure that we're overseeing everything that happens in your local office. And, at the end of the day, you'll get the opportunity to input into that locally, because the agreement gives you probably the greatest say you're ever going to have over local change, and that's yet to come. So, that we're going to be behind all of that, and we're going to be getting our reps into that place. That's one of the crucial things, that we're going to hold meetings with our reps soon to do that. But Martin, you've done a lot of work on also the reset of employee and industrial relations, and maybe you can sort of shed some light on when that's likely to be published.
We aim to publish the programme of reset because it's crucial we have a look at how do you improve industrial and employee relations. There's too many units. I get reports all the time around the failure of managers to treat our members with dignity, respect, failure to listen to our members, and also the way they treat them on a daily basis. We're committed with the employer and EP to have a total different model going forward, where people are treated with dignity, respect. We're going to look at doing an independent survey to make sure we understand what units are working well, what units need to be fixed, and also a range of other issues where we improve the way our members are treated in the workplace, and also how they can shape the workload themselves, how they can be not managers anymore, but supporters, mentors, rather than supervisors. Our members don't need supervisors. They know how to work, they know their workload, and they're the best at doing that, rather than being micromanaged with all the data, being told to do X, Y, and Z, or whether the data tells them. So we're going to look at trying to do this as quickly as possible. I think the other element, Dave, is how we support the reps. We've got a structure which is wide-ranging. We've got to make sure all those remote offices who don't often see a local rep or an area rep, we get into them and we support people through this change. By September and October, we want to make sure people have the best attendances, are able to clear workload, have part-time to full-time, achieving quality, and people actually are now thinking the job's improved for them. That's our target, and we're going to work on how our branches, our divisions, our PE and ourselves make this the biggest priority in the last 20 years this union's tackled.
So that's the commitment, guys, to us supporting you through this change. We're not going to walk away from that commitment. We're going to do more than we've ever done to align all of the structures in the union, and everybody will be playing their part in that, and we will be supporting our local reps as well. And as I said earlier, where there isn't a local rep, we will be coming to your offices to identify people that we can use as a contact point to make sure that the whole structure is working in support of the membership. I think the other thing that is going to be a priority that we've talked about in previous live shows is that this is now the moment where we have to drive forward the new growth strategy. We've been very clear that Royal Mail have got to do more to get people on board. They've got to treat people better. This agreement and the previous agreements give us the opportunity to do that. But you won't know that until you see it happening in your office, and we accept that. But with the growth strategy, this is crucial that we find ways of growing the business beyond just parcels. We support the need to grow parcels, but at the same time, we see that there are also other opportunities to grow this business because we've got such a good workforce who are trusted by customers, and because we've got an infrastructure that is second and a network that is second to none of our competitors. We've got the best. What I think we will be challenging the company on, and we're going to be talking to government about this and have been talking to them, is to make sure that we actually see that as an advantage and that there is a serious growth strategy now that comes into play. And we want to talk to you further about those issues and explain a bit more some of our thinking and why we think this will be beneficial for jobs, beneficial for the type of jobs that you'll be doing in the future. And we have got a lot of ideas, and we're going to be coming out and sharing some of those ideas with you. Martin, do you want to sort of talk a little bit as well about the reality of the Ofcom report, which I think has gone under the radar a bit?
Yeah.
We need to come out and have a session with our members and with the reps and everybody, because it is the most significant report that we've ever seen. It backed pretty much everything that the union put forward to the select committee. So do you want to elaborate on
Look,
some
I
of that?
think Ofcom been very heavily criticised in a number of areas where they haven't held Royal Mail to account on quality of service. They can't even identify how many units are prioritising parcels instead of letters, and obviously been given 6 months as a review. The other thing which is in there, which is really important, is potentially a universal service fund. So what we've now got is people like Amazon who won't deliver to the more costly parts of the USO. So, for example, the Isle of Wight, Highlands of Scotland, rural Wales, they will use Royal Mail. And Royal Mail, whilst they make a profit out of some of them, don't make as much a profit. And if you have the classic thing where letter decline is still there, but you're losing parcel volume, there is a point where the universal service can't continue. And that's where the fear of the Denmark model and others come in. So charging those companies a levy to fund the universal service fund is really important, and we should really explore that. The other element to that is a level playing field. And this company, again, has lost 50% of its shares since privatisation in parcels, but we're now approaching the point where more and more parcel providers are coming to Royal Mail and saying, you either drop your price or we're going to the self-employed model. And if that continues, then there is a real problem for the future sustainability of Royal Mail. So getting a level playing field where these individuals who work for one company aren't self-employed, they're actually employed, and should therefore, the company should be paying them national insurance, pension, holidays, and a wage, will enable Royal Mail to win more of the parcel market, which is vital for the future. But we've got to make sure that campaign is everywhere, and we've really got to get our members on board for that, because once you get a level playing field, Royal Mail's future will be vibrant if we also develop that with a growth strategy. So what's your view on that?
Yeah, I mean, I've said all along that this is one of the critical things where we should be aligned with a company. The company, I think, want the same, and that it was noticeable that Royal Mail didn't say a lot about it the other week because it criticised them. I mean, the select committee report, if our members haven't seen it, you should see it, because it will help you understand the point. We did send it out on email to those that we've got an email address for, but we also have sent it out to our branches, and we're going to be coming out and talking more about it. But it will certainly help you understand that we have moved a few things forward here, that when we say this agreement is going to be deployed in a different context to previous agreements, then that's true. And we'd urge our members to engage on that. We want you to be part of that campaign. Ofcom have been severely criticised. The government have also been told by the select committee that they should introduce measures that stop the undercutting of Royal Mail. That's really, really important, and stop the pressure of the gig economy. They explicitly mention that as one of their recommendations. Now, that doesn't mean at this stage that the government are just going to implement everything the select committee says, but we're confident that with the campaign that we're going to run now and with the support of our members, these things are within our grasp, and this is a major breakthrough for us, but more work to do. I think that covers all of the kind of next steps. We've sent out letters to our branches where we explain all this. We've sent out an email tonight at the same time as we announced the report to our members who are on email explaining all of this. And our promise to you is that we're coming out to talk to you more about this change, so that you don't get left behind and you will get maximum support in delivering the change. And we're coming out to get you on board for the campaigns that we need to do to secure the future of your job and the future of Royal Mail. So on that note, I think we've come to the end of this short live briefing, and I hope to hold a second live briefing probably in a few weeks' time, where we would have had a chance to see some of the early results, and we'll be able to talk to you more about the plans that we've laid out tonight. So thanks very much for coming on, and we'll see you all soon.